On the 1st of August, a computer did something no human had done. It solved 10 open problems in maths. Problems that had sat there for years, unsolved and waiting. A Fields Medal winner looked at the proof and said he would happily send it to a top journal without hesitation. But that was 5 days ago. And I want to tell you why I've not stopped thinking about it. Not because of what the machine did, but because of what we're about to stop doing. Here's where we actually are. Right now, in the summer of 2026, the head of AI at Microsoft said in February that most white collar work will be automated inside of 12 to 18 months. That's lawyers, accountants, project managers, and marketing teams. 12 to 18 months from February. So let's do the maths on that. 21% of companies have already frozen entry level hiring because of AI. 36% say they will stop by the end of this year. 47% expect entry level hiring to be gone by 2027. In the UK, graduate tech roles fell by nearly half in a single year. And this week, Europe switched on the first rules in the world that force an AI to tell you it's an AI. So the machines are now good enough to need a warning label. Now, here's the part that I lose most people and they get upset with me. I don't think mass unemployment is the real story. I genuinely don't. The forecasts say 92 million jobs go by 2030 and 170 million new ones arrive. On paper, that's gain, that's great. But I've sat in boardrooms for 20 years. I've signed off restructures. I've built workforce plans. And I can tell you the number always moves. Jobs vanish, jobs appear. That's not new. That's not what's keeping me up. What's keeping me up is this. We are about to raise a generation of professionals who have never been wrong about anything that mattered. Think about that. Think about how you got good at your job. Not the training, not the course, not the certificate on the wall. You got good because someone let you do the boring bit. You wrote that first awful draft. You built the model that broke. You sat in a meeting and gave an answer that turned out to be wrong in front of people and you felt it in your stomach for a week. That's not waste. That is the whole thing. Judgment isn't taught. Judgment is a scar. You get it by being wrong in a room where it costs you something. And we're removing the rooms. Let me tell you what a company sees. A company sees a junior analyst who takes 3 days, costs 40,000 a year, needs a manager, needs feedback, and needs a desk and gets it wrong the first 4 times. And then it sees a tool that does the same job in 90 seconds for the price of a coffee. Look, I'm not going to pretend that this is a hard decision. It's not. I've watched people make it under 10 minutes. But here's what nobody says in that meeting. That junior analyst was not a cost line. That junior analyst was your head of strategy in 2034. You don't just cut a task, you cut a runway. So I want to name it because I think we need a name for it. And I think we're walking into what I call a judgment recession. Not a jobs recession, a judgment recession. A period somewhere between now and 2030 where organizations are full of very good tools and very capable people who have never had to decide anything hard on their own. They'll be fast, they'll be informed, they'll have better answers than we ever had. And the first time the answer is not in the machine, they'll freeze because nobody ever let them be lost. You can't download the feeling of not knowing what to do and doing it anyway. Job losses are loud. Job losses make the news. Somebody stands outside a building with a box. A judgment recession is silent. It shows up as a decision that took 11 months instead of 3 weeks. It shows up as a room full of senior people all waiting for someone else to have a view. It shows up as a company that is enormous and busy and completely unable to move. So you'll not see it in the headlines in 2027. You'll see it in 2030 when something goes badly wrong somewhere and everyone realizes the last person who knew how to think without a screen retired in 2028. We're really good at spotting the risks we can count. We are terrible at spotting the ones we can only feel. Now, look, I want to be fair here because this is not only a company problem, it's a you problem and it's a me problem because the tool is genuinely brilliant. That's the trap. It's not bad, it's excellent. And every day it offers you a deal. Give me the hard bit and I'll give you your afternoon back. And obviously, you're going to take it. Of course, you take it. I would take it. But do that for 4 years and something goes quiet in you. The muscle doesn't hurt, it just stops being there. And you won't notice it because nothing will have gone wrong yet. And that's how this works. You don't lose judgment in a crisis. You lose it in 100 small Tuesdays where you did not need it. I'm not going to tell you to stop using it. That would be stupid. And you would ignore me. And you'd be right to. I want you to do one thing. Just pick the hard thing, the one thing in your work that is genuinely difficult. and genuinely yours, the judgment call, the thing you would be known for. And do that bit by hand, every week on purpose and slowly. Let the machine have the rest. Let it have the notes, the summaries, the formatting, the first draft of the boring email. Give it away with both hands. And if you manage people, if you have anyone junior anywhere near you, let them be wrong. Let them take 3 days. Let them bring you something that isn't very good. Let them sit in the discomfort of it. You're not being inefficient. You are building the only thing that will not be automated. There is one more group I want to speak to, the people making these rules right now. Because Sam Altman said last week that it might be time to pace the rate of development so society can harden around it. The man building it is asking for time. And the honest thing to say is this: everyone in that conversation is a technologist, a regulator, or an investor. Nobody in that room has ever had to tell a 23-year-old that the job they trained for no longer exists. I have. So when they talk about pacing, they mean pacing the model. I mean pacing the people. Those are not the same thing. And only one of them is being planned for. Look, I'm not frightened of the machines. They're extraordinary. They solve 10 problems in maths that we couldn't. I am frightened of what happens when a whole generation of us gets very used to never being stuck. Because being stuck is where people are made. We spent 100 years building the ladder, and we're pulling it up while we're still standing on it.